This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
New at noon, the Summer Olympics have now been pushed back from 2020 to 2021 over COVID-19 concerns. World leaders say they do not want to cancel it outright, but still have to decide on an exact date on when it will take place in its scheduled city of Tokyo, Japan. This is all part of the efforts to try to slow down the global spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Thanks for being with us this midday hour. Meredith Barrick here with Storm Team 6's Todd Clausen. Because while you may be stuck at home today, we want to keep you up to speed on whether you can get out and get some fresh air. Todd, please give us some hope here.
Yeah, you know, for the most part, you can. There's just a couple of you. I think you have to keep an eye on the sky throughout the late afternoon, early evening hours across the area. And that's those of you in southern locations. You'll have the best chance of a few spotty showers. I'll show you those in just a second. Temperatures in southern locales, 47 in Bloomington right now, 42 in Tipton, 45 is the current temperature right now in Indy. And as you look from downtown to the north, you can see some clouds. There's been a little bit of sunshine filtered through the cloud cover at times throughout the morning hours now into the early afternoon. But from this point forward, the clouds here are going to continue to thicken and eventually overtake the entire area. As far as the rain, this band of rain is moving off towards the east. So it's really what we're watching here in St. Louis and southern Illinois. That's going to move eastward. That's why there's going to be a very sharp cutoff with the rainfall as it moves in later on this afternoon. Probably only makes it as far north as Johnson County. If you do see the rain late this afternoon, early this evening, it is going to be very light. Then it moves off to the east very, very quickly, and that'll set us up for what should be the best weather day of the week tomorrow. Meredith will talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. An update now to a police standoff in Fishers yesterday afternoon. It is believed the suspect who fired his gun toward officers was found dead inside an apartment near 141st Street and State Road 37. But today, police now say a woman was also found dead inside. The hours-long standoff happened in the Britton Woods apartments. Investigators believe the 48-year-old man and 34-year-old woman knew each other, but could not share any more details about their identities or what led up to the deadly shooting. We are just a little less than 12 hours away from the state of Indiana going into a stay-at-home status to help slow the spread of COVID-19. From tonight at 11:59 p.m. through April 7th, Hoosiers are being ordered to stay at home unless you need to get food, medical attention to help others, or if your job is considered an essential service. You can still go outside, whether that's to work in your yard or go on a walk or go to an open park. Indiana's order is similar to ones already in place in Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois. So what is considered an essential business? Hospitals and healthcare centers, grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations, daycares, shelters, laundry service providers, public transit, and public service hotlines. And don't forget restaurants for carryout or delivery only. Business owners are certain to have questions about how this order impacts their company. The Critical Industries Hotline says it will help businesses and industries comply with the executive order. The hotline is for business and industry questions only. That contact information plus Governor Holcomb's entire order is on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. RTV6 is tracking the latest numbers of reported COVID-19 cases for you. The virus has now taken the lives of 12 Hoosiers. The state of Indiana is reporting at least 365 cases total. That's up more than 100 cases from yesterday. RTV6 has broken down the cases county by county on the IndyChannel.com. We do want to take a moment to talk about the global numbers next, and keep in mind here, this is reported activity. There have been nearly 400,000 cases reported total. Nearly 50,000 of those are in the U.S. More than 17,000 deaths are being recorded internationally, but more than 100,000 people have recovered from the virus. Johns Hopkins University has been tracking all this data. The president is discussing easing social distancing guidelines as early as next week amid a broader debate over how much economic loss the country can bear to save an unknown number of lives threatened by the COVID-19 pandemic. Alex Prussia has the latest details from Washington.
President Trump pushing to get Americans back to work, despite health experts stressing social distancing and warning COVID-19 could continue spreading for months.
We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself.
Next week, the White House set to re-examine social distancing, possibly easing restrictions that could allow some businesses and employees to go back to work.
I think everybody shares his frustration and his hope, but what he needs to do is avoid second waves and reinfections.
The president acknowledging easing restrictions is contrary to what healthcare professionals are advising, but defends his thinking, suggesting the mortality rate right now in the U.S. is 1%.
If it were up to the doctors, they may say, let's keep it shut down. Let's shut down the entire world.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, an agreement still pending over that $2 trillion stimulus package. Democrats are pushing for more restrictions on corporate bailout money and arguing the bill does not do enough to help families, healthcare workers, and hospitals. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin saying this morning that they are, quote, very, very close. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying on CNBC there could be a deal within hours, sending the markets soaring. As for emergency supplies, FEMA saying it's stepping up its efforts.
The president said yesterday that FEMA is distributing 8 million masks. Can you confirm that you have 8 million masks on hand? Where and when will they be delivered?
Well, we have much more than the 8 million. Every day we find new sources of masks.
Though some governors saying the administration is forcing states to compete against each other for protective equipment by not centralizing its distribution.
And what I say to all governors out there, if you find a source, go buy it. FEMA will reimburse you.
But they're saying that's the problem. They're out looking for a source and they're competing with each other. They're bidding the prices up. They're saying do it now.
Right, we hear that, and again, we're ready to take action on all of that. Again, we're trying to keep the system in balance. We don't want the federal government scooping up everything.
Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
As Indiana prepares for a surge in COVID-19 cases, an emergency operations center is now up and running. Governor Holcomb says the goal is to maximize hospital capacity and provide joint coordination. It's a partnership with the state, City of Indianapolis, and all hospital systems in Marion County. The center is tracking the inventory of all hospital beds, supplies, and personnel as the number of COVID-19 patients grows. Every day, more people are dealing with deeper consequences of COVID-19 hitting the economy in central Indiana. If you or someone you know needs resources right now, many community organizations are stepping up to help and make sure people don't go without the essentials like dinner, food pantries, church partnerships, you name it. Those resources are out there. Grocery stores are also continuing to add special hours for seniors to get their shopping done without anxiety. We've got the details on food pantries and special store hours on the IndyChannel.com/coronavirus. Life looks a lot different for everyone as we adapt to COVID-19. That includes every Hoosier child celebrating their birthdays right now without their friends. One woman is working to bring them some joy. Shauna Williams owns her business called Once Upon a Party. Right now, she's not doing much as most events have been canceled or postponed. She provides face painting and balloon animals for kids in corporate events. So she's changing course, offering birthday boxes for families who have kids celebrating birthdays during this time. Since kids won't be able to celebrate with their friends, the box is full of activities they can do with their families at home. Williams customizes the box to each child's interest and age. The boxes are uplifting for her and a small way to bring in additional income for Williams as she misses out on bigger business.
Everything in April right now has either been canceled or postponed. The May events will be next. We're holding our breath for anything after June that those can resume as normal.
Williams says between previously booked and last-minute calls, she's missing out on around 30 events in March and April. That income loss just under $13,000. If cancellations go into May, her losses will approach $20,000. Additional income is out there despite layoffs and losses. RTV6 is actively tracking which places around central Indiana are still hiring right now. That's all on our homepage, theindychannel.com. And for a broader look at available jobs today and every day, just head to hiringhoosiers.com. The streets and sidewalks may be empty, but some things are unwavering. Still ahead, the entities that are still watching, waiting for your return. Then a little bit later, to find answers in the present, we must turn to the past. We study two cities during a pandemic and see how they succeeded and failed to curb the spread. Todd.
And as we go throughout the afternoon hours, the clouds will continue to thicken up. Gone is any sunshine that we saw throughout the morning hours. And soon, rain will be falling from those clouds for some of you. We'll talk about that forecast and also a warming trend heading our way coming up when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
The Connors, new tonight on ABC.
Right now on RTV6, with more businesses closing and Indy residents practicing social distancing, the streets are almost empty. RTV6 photojournalist Brad Forrestal shows you there are still some familiar faces out there keeping an eye on things and waiting for our return. Just as strong as our commitment to serving you with the information you need is our commitment to telling the stories of good people doing good throughout all of this. If you know someone who's working in the community to make things better right now, send us a message at workingforyou@rtv6.com. What we're going through as a society is unprecedented, and now's the time to get answers from history itself. Still ahead, we take a deep dive into how social distancing and flattening the curve worked out for two cities during the worst pandemics in modern history. And we are taking a live look at downtown View to the West. Meteorologist Todd Clausen will let us know what we have in store as we continue our week. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
800-850-5054.
This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
When navigating a current crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic, it's essential to look to the past to find possible answers for our future. During one of our nation's worst pandemics in history, two cities took wildly different approaches in response. The results back up the importance now of what's being called flattening the curve, physically distancing from each other and taking steps to slow down the spread of the virus. Zach Toombs from our Scripps partner Newsy explains.
1918 saw the rise of a global pandemic that brought huge societal changes. That was a different time and a different, far more deadly virus. But looking at how two American cities handled the Spanish flu reveals an important lesson in dealing with our own pandemic. One city stopped the spread. The other created an outbreak. On September 28, 1918, 200,000 people lined Broad Street in Philadelphia for a grand parade to promote Liberty loans to pay for World War I. Marching in the parade, troops, Boy Scouts, and marching bands led by the famous conductor John Philip Sousa. Hundreds of thousands of people all packed together, despite warnings that the deadly flu was very much active among nearby military camps. City officials and parade planners forged ahead. Within 3 days, there wasn't a single empty bed in any Philadelphia hospital. Within a week, with health services overwhelmed, the death toll had reached 4,500 people. City leaders closed down Philadelphia. By then, it was too late. But during that same time frame in 1918, a different city took a different approach and was able to flatten the curve, keeping the number of flu cases low enough that hospitals could deal with them. To understand the position these cities were in, you have to look back at the months leading up to their decisions. The virus that became known as Spanish flu first appeared in early 1918. Rampant among military bases in both the U.S. and Europe, it spread rapidly as World War I brought opposing armies together in dire conditions. By the summer, the flu had tailed off enough that many health experts believed it was gone for good. But the fall brought a new surge of cases globally. And by September, city leaders across the U.S. knew the flu had begun actively spreading again. St. Louis handled this information very differently than Philadelphia. Within 2 days of detecting active cases, St. Louis leaders had forced closure for schools, churches, and any public gatherings of more than 20 people. The virus still spread throughout St. Louis. But through this social distancing, the city kept its number of cases low and suffered far fewer casualties than Philadelphia. The steps St. Louis took a century ago look a lot like those taken after cases of coronavirus showed up in Singapore and Hong Kong, where schools and public gatherings were quickly shut down and the virus's spread was slowed.
Zach Toombs from our partner station Newsy there. Thanks so much. We do want to check in on our weather. Things slowly warming up as the week continues. Todd, we've got some cloud cover right now. Are we going to see any peaks of sunshine today?
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of sunshine there in Greencastle, but not a whole lot. And that'll be the case for the next few hours across central Indiana. But overall here, the clouds are going to continue to thicken up, and eventually some spotty showers are going to arrive in the forecast. The good news, not only today, but going forward in this forecast, as we look at your overall weather headlines, is a warming trend is heading our way. The bad news is with the warmer weather will come increased rain chances, especially towards the tail end of the week. The view from downtown to the north shows a little more in the way of cloud cover right now, but you do notice a few breaks in those clouds. 45 degrees. That's the current temperature. A little breezy today with those winds out of the east-southeast, but those winds are shifting now. Earlier this morning, if you joined us on Good Morning Indiana, those winds were out of the northeast. Has more of a southerly component to it now, and that's what's going to help to bring our temperatures up close to average later on this afternoon. We're at 45 in Martinsville, 48 right now in Bloomington, 43 is the current temperature in Tipton. Highs today should top off in the mid-50s to the south, right around 53 degrees in Indy and right at 50 degrees in Peru. The average high for this time of year is 55, so we're just below that today as far as high temperatures go. And as far as the clouds go, they're certainly in place across the area, and they'll continue to thicken up here throughout the afternoon hours, but eventually some of these rain showers are going to start to sneak in here, especially in southern locations. That's the best opportunity to pick up some showers across the area. Can't rule out the chance of a hit or miss shower in northern locations, but it's across the south where the showers will be a little more widespread, and also the rainfall will be a little more steady. So for those of you in Bloomington, Columbus, Franklin, down towards Seymour, Greensburg, you'll have the opportunity again for a few hit or miss showers across the area, but it's not a big washout. It's not going to cause any flooding, and then things will really start to wrap up as we head closer to the midnight hour, and that'll set us up for a good day tomorrow. So if you do have plans tomorrow, make sure you, or this evening rather, have a few umbrellas with you as a few spotty showers make their way through the area. And then here is that forecast for tomorrow. We may start off with a little bit of cloud cover, but then we get into quite a bit of sunshine. That's going to be the best day for us weather-wise, not only because it's sunny, but the temperature is warm tomorrow as well, as we are up to 60 degrees. Fast forward to Thursday. Thursday's dry during the daytime hours, and then we bring more scattered showers into the forecast Thursday evening. So the main theme I kind of want you to take from this forecast is, yes, it gets a little unsettled across the area, but it's going to turn much warmer by the end of the week. We're talking about highs in the mid to upper 60s. And as far as that rainfall goes, you'll have to dodge some showers at times, but there will be opportunities to get out and about and enjoy the warmth. It may not be the brightest day for you Friday and Saturday, but at least the temperatures will be mild. The time now is 12:24. The news at noon is back in just a few minutes.
Indy Home Experts at theindychannel.com.
We want to thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope you join us again this evening at 5.